Hey guys, Sean here. So this has been a video I've been wanting to do for a while. So I'm a huge fan of the Saw films, as some people probably know. And this is a video that I've been wanting to do, like I said, for a while. And it's basically about the movie Jigsaw from 2017. That it's basically a why Jigsaw didn't quite work for me kind of video. It's not so much a review; it's more of my thoughts on why the movie didn't work, I guess, as a whole. And before I jump into the video, so I got this like a few weeks ago. I know I already own the DVD because I have it in a Blu-ray case with the original 1970 or 87 director's cut of RoboCop. I have the remake now on Blu-ray. So my plan is to, once I get all my stuff over, my sister says the plan is maybe July or somewhere around there, to bring my stuff over and get everything set up. My plan is to switch this case out with the remake case, and then that way, or the case that I have, the direct shot of the original Blu-ray, and that way I can have both versions, or both the remakes, Blu-ray and DVD in the same case, and then I can put the original in this case. The weird thing is when I bought this at Goodwill for like $2.99, this cover is basically just a printed out cover. Like, I guess somebody had the original, lost the DVD, and I guess they lost the DVD and the case, and the initial case, and then just printed out new artwork. I guess. I don't quite know. Hang on, guys. Oh, I can work with this later. But see, like, it is just the Blu-ray. Even though the artwork says DVD, Blu-ray and DVD. But hey, it's basically just it's the same way as when I bought Star Trek Beyond, where it was just the Blu-ray, no DVD. Like, okay. Although, that was from Disc Replay. This is Goodwill. But, okay, who cares? I have it. Hang on, guys. I'm getting a little overheated. Alright, there we go. Sorry, guys. I had to turn the air fan on. I was starting to get a little warm. But yeah, back to this whole Jigsaw video. So the reason why the movie Jigsaw from 2016 or 2017 why it just doesn't work for me is because the plot itself. So they hyped this movie up as basically saying John Kramer's still alive. You know, he may have faked his death. How is he still alive and all that stuff? But yet anybody who has seen the original 7 movies, and that's the thing, this movie was hyped, like I said, hyped up to make audiences think that John Kramer could still be alive, right? They wanted to make it seem like a new direction, right? But it's not, because this movie is basically just Saws 2 and 5 blended in a way. Because not only does the mystery of is John Kramer still alive make no fucking sense, because they even go so far as to not only have John's voice throughout the game being played, but they even go so far as to have them dig up John's grave and there be another body in it, making us think, oh, John Kramer's still alive, but he's not, because John is only physically in one scene towards the end of the movie. And for anybody who has seen the original 7 movies, you would know that his throat was slit by Jeff Denlin at the end of the 3rd movie with a fucking chainsaw. And not just that, but the opening of Saw 4, they open with John's fucking autopsy. So if John were still alive this whole time, they'd have to ignore the autopsy and plus have there be a mark on John's neck, which, if you look closely at his appearance in Jigsaw, there is no mark on his neck. How do they explain this? The game we see being played throughout the movie is actually taking place 10 years ago. Yeah, this is not as clever as a twist as Saw 4 or Saw 2 was, and that's why I said it's kind of like Saw 2 and 5 put together, because they try and redo the same twist from Saw 2. The only difference is that one worked because we actually saw the cops witnessing the game being played on on what we thought was a live feed. Turns out it wasn't. The game was played hours ago, and the cops only thought it was being live. That's why that twist worked, because the cops thought the game was being played live when it actually occurred hours ago, or maybe days ago for all we knew. This one doesn't work because they keep cutting back and forth between the game itself and the police investigation as if it were like any other Saw movie. You know? So it's like, I don't get it. Plus, so the whole mystery is, who's the new killer then? Well, it can't be the redhead because, obvious red hair. She's a Jigsaw fangirl who basically rents out a warehouse just to store all these traps. So obviously she's the fucking redhead, or the red herring as it were. So it's clearly her coworker Logan, and they try to tie Logan in. And Logan's own motive for this is where I say it's basically Saw 5 again. Logan's whole motive is he wants to frame Detective Halloran because Halloran was a dirty cop who let people go in exchange for being an informant. It just so happened that one person that was the one informant was the guy who just so happened to kill Logan's wife. So that's why Logan's doing all this. Also, the fact is, he was apparently John's first apprentice. They even try to show this by showing him being the one to help John make the reverse bear trap that was used on Amanda later. Ugh. And no, they do not explain why he was never in the other movies. Because Logan clearly tells Halloran, I came out of the war a broken man, and Jigsaw helped me put the pieces back together. So no, they never address what he was in the other movies. Like, at least with Gordon, you can understand how he was staying out of it, because he had his work and and the only thing he really helped with was the surgical stuff. Not to mention, that does explain how John and Amanda got all the medical supplies that they needed to keep John alive in the third movie. But other than that, Gordon, I think, mostly stayed out of it. And Gordon was probably the one apprentice who actually understood John's method. Logan just doesn't. Logan's doing this just to kill Halloran and frame him. It's like, okay. But also, these two people in the last trap are so stupid. John literally holds up a shotgun shell and says, I know this isn't a shotgun shell, but yeah, I don't trust myself with a gun at all. So you're getting my earbud case. So stand in with the shotgun shell. But John literally holds it up and says, here's your key to freedom. He holds a shot and he's rigging the shotgun saying, you're living your life backwards. Those two sentences should make you think something. Like, oh, I don't know, the gun was rigged to fire in reverse and the key to your chain was in the shotgun shell. But no, these guys don't even think to entertain that thought. And Laura Vanderbilt, I forget her character's name in the movie, goes to shoot the other guy, but ends up killing herself because John rigged the gun to fire in reverse. And just so happens the key to their chains were in the shotgun shell that she completely destroyed. Okay. Oh, and yeah, for all it's supposed to be about taking place 10 years in the past, we clearly see HD televisions, like widescreen HD televisions, when they're during one trap. So, yeah. Also, here's a hole in the plot. Here's a plot hole. So, a lot of the dialogue in the movie says that John Kramer died 10 years ago. And they say this trap took place 10 years in the past. So, the movie's trying to say then, the first three movies, or at least the first four, considering Saw 4 took place at the same time as the third movie. So the first four movies, plus Saw X, since that took place between 1 and 2, all take place within a year's time frame. I don't buy it. I don't buy it because if you watch Saw X, the producers have said that picks up merely weeks after the end of the first movie. But then you have between the cancer support group and when Henry Kessler meets John at that cafe, he says it's been 4 months since they last saw each other, and he's been in remission that long. So, since Saw 2 takes place a year after the first, it's said to take place a year after the first, that would mean that between the bulk of Saw X and the plot of Saw 2, there's at least 8 months. And then, they say that Saw 3 and 4 take place 6 months after 2. Yeah, that's more than a year. That's at least a fucking year and a half within the 4 movies. Or 5 if you count Saw X. So, yeah. I don't get it. I don't get where the timeline falls. But, oh well. But, I was glad when they made Saw X because they even said it was a movie for the fans. And you could tell it felt like a movie for the fans. It was basically their apology letter. It was basically their apology for the last 2 movies, to be honest. Yeah. I think that's all I can say about this movie. Is it just didn't work for me. For the various reasons I mentioned, it just didn't work for me. But, I'll say this. Here's the thing. When I said this was like Saw 5, is because, as I said before, Logan is only doing this because his wife was murdered by Halloran's informant. Okay. I find Hoffman more sympathetic, though, because it was revealed in Saw 5 that his sister was murdered by her boyfriend, and the dude was let go on a technicality. So Hoffman, pissed off with the justice system, basically took matters into his own hands and put Seth Baxter in a Jigsaw trap and killed him. John found out, said, "I don't like credit that's not mine," and then offered Hoffman a better way to deal with his grief. That actually made Hoffman a sympathetic character, whereas Logan, I don't find an ounce of sympathy in. Like, to be honest, I don't. You know? I literally don't. But, oh well. I'll catch you guys later.